Can you imagine waking up one day to find out that two of the most iconic stars in Hollywood, Johnny Depp and Penelope Cruz, have just made a massive, heartfelt announcement, one that no one saw coming? And no, it's not another surprise movie deal or some publicity stunt to grab headlines. This is something else entirely. Something way more personal. Something real. Something that feels more human than Hollywood. For decades, both Johnny and Penelope have dazzled us on screen. From pirates and poets to detectives and doomed lovers, we've seen them in every kind of role imaginable. We've laughed with them, cried with them, and rooted for them. But underneath the spotlight, they've each lived complicated, emotional lives that go far beyond red carpets and movie scripts. So when they came forward with this new announcement, something completely different from anything they've done before, it shook people. Not because it was controversial, but because it was real. Genuinely real. And in a world filled with filters, fame, and flash, that kind of raw authenticity is rare. Now, you're probably wondering, what exactly did they announce? Why did it catch so many people off guard? And why is this hitting people so deeply? Well, let's back up a little. Over the last few months, fans started noticing something odd. Johnny and Penelope were being seen together more often, but not at premieres or fancy events. They were spotted visiting community centers, sitting quietly in small town halls, and even walking through art exhibits that showcased youth work. Not exactly the kind of places you'd expect to see two international film stars. People started whispering. Are they working on a secret project? Is it a film about real people or social issues? A documentary maybe? But the answer wasn't any of that. It was something much more unexpected. Much more human. The truth is, they've been working on a global initiative. A personal mission that focuses on mental health, trauma recovery, and healing through creative expression. That's right. Johnny Depp and Penelope Cruz, two of the biggest names in cinema, are stepping away from the spotlight to make room for other voices, voices that haven't been heard, stories that haven't been told. And they're doing it through something they both love deeply, storytelling. Not storytelling like in Hollywood scripts, but storytelling in its most honest, vulnerable, and healing form. They believe that through painting, writing, music, and film, people, especially young people, can begin to process pain, trauma, and even silence. They can begin to heal. And for Johnny and Penelope, this isn't just theory. This is lived experience. Both of them have faced unimaginable struggles. Some of it played out right in front of our eyes in the media. Some of it was hidden behind the scenes, protected by private moments we'll probably never know about. But what they've made clear is that art helped them survive. It gave them a space to scream when no one else could hear. To cry when words didn't come. To breathe when everything else felt suffocating. Johnny once said that art literally saved his life. And you can tell when he talks about it, that's not a rehearsed line. That's something that came from the bottom of his soul. Penelope has spoken passionately about growing up in Madrid, surrounded by poetry, theater, and music. For her, art wasn't optional, it was survival. It was how she made sense of a world that often felt out of control. So this initiative? It's more than just another celebrity-backed project. It's a reflection of who they are. A way for them to give back, not from a place of charity, but from a place of shared experience. A place of, I've been there too. And the way they're doing it is just as inspiring. They're not simply donating money and walking away. They're showing up. In person. Sitting down with young artists, listening to their stories, sometimes in complete silence. You can see it in the footage, Johnny listening quietly to a teenager talk about losing his father in a war zone. Penelope holding the hand of a young girl showing her a poem she wrote about anxiety. These moments aren't scripted. They're raw. And they're real. The initiative is global, spanning across different continents and languages. In some places, it's art workshops in refugee camps. In others, it's storytelling circles in urban schools. The goal is always the same, to give people a voice. To show them that their pain matters. That their story matters. That they matter. And fans? They've been incredibly moved by it. The moment the announcement hit social media, people flooded the comments. Thousands of messages poured in. Thank you for seeing us. I've always felt like my story didn't matter, until now. I've never picked up a paintbrush, but I think I will today. It wasn't just admiration. It was connection. A shared humanity. One fan wrote about how her younger brother, who'd been struggling silently with PTSD, finally opened up after watching Johnny and Penelope talk about the project. Another said their daughter started writing poetry again, something she hadn't done in years, because she felt seen. That's the kind of impact we're talking about here. And buried in the announcement were some surprising gems most people missed. For one, there's an entire section dedicated to the science of storytelling. Did you know that expressing your life through narrative, whether spoken, written, drawn, or filmed, can physically change how your brain processes trauma? It's true. There's a real, biological shift that happens when you take your pain and turn it into a story. Your body starts to relax. Your heart rate slows. Your immune system strengthens. Your brain creates new pathways that help you move forward instead of staying stuck. That's why this initiative is centered around creative expression. Because it's not just beautiful, it's healing. And the best part? They're making it accessible. They're rolling out free online workshops anyone can join. Doesn't matter where you are in the world. You just need an internet connection. These workshops aren't about making perfect art. They're about making honest art. They're taught by real people, artists, poets, musicians, teachers, many of whom have been through trauma themselves. They guide you through exercises like painting your emotions, journaling your fears, or scripting out a fictional version of your pain. And slowly, step by step, people are starting to find their voice again. And guess what? You can get involved too. They're inviting fans to submit their own work, songs, short films, poems, digital art, anything that reflects your journey. And they're not looking for perfection. They're looking for truth. If your work is selected, it gets featured on their platform, where it can reach thousands, even millions. And sometimes, it changes lives. One story that touched everyone was about a 16-year-old girl from Morocco. She submitted a painting she created using watercolors, showing what her life looked like before and after war. It was haunting. But it was also hopeful. The painting was showcased on the platform. People started sharing it. It went viral. And then something incredible happened. An art school in Paris offered her a full scholarship. All because she shared her story. All because someone believed in her. That's what this is about. Opening doors that once felt permanently closed. Giving hope where there was only silence. Turning pain into power. And if you're sitting there thinking, but I'm not an artist, let me tell you something, neither were they when they started. Johnny didn't become a painter overnight. Penelope didn't learn the language of poetry in a day. It starts small. One brushstroke. One sentence. One idea. And suddenly, your story begins to take shape. Think about it. What moment in your life has shaped who you are the most? Was it something joyful? Or something difficult? A conversation, a heartbreak, a loss. Whatever it is, it's yours. And maybe, just maybe, someone else out there needs to hear it too. If this story touched you, made you think, or even just made you feel a little more connected, go ahead and give it a like. Share it. Comment below. You never know who's scrolling by today that might need a little reminder that they're not alone. And if you want to keep exploring stories that go beyond the headlines, stories that matter, we've got another video coming up about how celebrities are quietly funding schools in places hit hardest by conflict. No press. No ego. Just real change. It's all connected. Same heart, same mission. So if you haven't subscribed yet, now's a great time. Not just because it helps the channel, but because it helps build a space where truth can live. Where stories matter. Where people feel seen. Thanks for being here today. For giving your time. For opening your heart. Maybe tonight you'll pick up a pen. Maybe tomorrow you'll take a walk and think about what your story might look like on paper. Or maybe you'll just sit with it for now. And that's okay too. Whatever you do, remember this. Your voice matters. Your story matters. And the world needs both.